Glad you're here at Jellicoe High School. My name is Jim Freeman with WLAF. We'd like to, right up top, thank Dr. Donna Singley and the folks here for allowing us to come in and having such a nice place to have the event this evening. And it's very cool in here. We were kind of warm last week if you were with us last week, but we're glad to be here this evening. And we welcome a radio audience this evening on WLAF La Follette. WLAF's partnering with the La Follette Press, and that's what's made all this possible. Ron Hudson was asking earlier, he said, are you doing this? I said, well, we have a partner. I said, I'm not sure we could do it by ourselves, and it's been great to have the press folks here with us. We're going to try to get started quickly because Pam and Mr. Vermillion will need to leave here in just a couple of minutes to get to the council meeting, and again, we apologize for being slow this evening. It just worked out that way. Our panelist tonight, Joe King, is helping us with the timer, right? No? You're doing questions, okay. Charles Boomer Winfrey with WLAF is here. Joe is with the La Follette Press. Charlotte Underwood is riding herself away there. She is with WLAF. Kennedy Walden is a junior here at Jellicoe High. Kennedy, glad you're here this evening. And then, of course, Karen Kumrich is the business manager with the La Follette Press, and she's going to be doing our timing tonight. Very good. Noah Smith is behind the camera, and behind the other camera is Dwayne Wilder. You probably remember him from Sports Days, coming over to cover the Blue Devils. Our guests this evening, Ralph Davis, Alvin Evans, the coach, Ron Hudson, Robert Hicks, Pam Carbaugh, and Charles C. Vermillion. And we are glad you're here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our format tonight is each candidate will be asked 3 questions. There may be one question we'll ask each candidate. We have a fishbowl. We'll be pulling some questions from there to try to make this as fair as we possibly can. And each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, make opening comments, and then after we go through the round of questions, you'll have a couple of minutes for closing comments and remarks and a chance to ask for the votes here. And are we ready to go? Okay, who shall we begin with this evening? Okay, let's do that. Okay, Charles C. Vermillion, running for County Commission, District 5. Charles, take it away, sir.
Hello, I'm Charles Vermillion. I was born and raised in Jellicoe, Tennessee, and I'm running for County Commissioner of District 5. And I believe that the city of Jellicoe and the surrounding area, including Newcomb and White Oak and Morley and all the surrounding areas, need to have better representation in the county government from this side of the mountain. That's all.
Brevity, I like that. And now let's go to Pam Carbaugh for opening comments. Pam Carbaugh.
Thank you. My name is Pam Carbaugh. I live at 142 Hicks Lane here in Jellicoe. I'm running for County Commissioner because I think we need a stronger voice. If I'm wrong, they'll have to tell me so. But I've talked to a lot of people, different places, and I just don't think we're heard over on this side of the mountain, and I'd like to represent you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pam. Would we want to go ahead and jump to a couple of questions for Charles and Pam? So they're going to have to leave here in just a moment. Could we kind of break from format and do that? Charles, Pam, is that okay with you to kind of at least let you get your feet wet a little bit here? And do you want to go ahead and start with Charles, and then we'll come to Pam. And again, our first forum that we had back it's been almost a month ago, we wound up having to push it back to 7 o'clock because of last-minute meetings for the commission and school board. And Charlotte Underwood has our first question this evening. Charlotte?
What do you think the role of a Campbell County Commissioner is and should be?
Okay. Same question. How about that? That way we can hear from Charles and Pam. And Charlotte, would you ask that question one more time for us, please?
The role of a Campbell County Commissioner is someone to represent the section or their district of the county and the county government, and to help for the economic development of the area, and see to it that it gets its equal share of county funds.
Okay, Pam Carbaugh.
I think a Campbell County Commissioner for District 5 needs somebody that's good, strong, and outstanding. I know there are a lot of people saying, well, what do you mean by that? I want you to stand up for the people. Let the people have their voice. You're not here for yourself, and I think you need to represent the people as a whole.
Okay, do you want to give them another question? Or, yes? Oh, Alvin, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Yes, Coach, don't bench me over this, okay? Alvin, Coach Evans. Coach.
My name is Alvin Evans, and I'm a candidate for the 5th District County Commissioner. And I guess what is the role? You know, what a lot of people don't understand is that the commissioners set the budgets. You know, we don't have a lot to do with day-to-day operations. And I guess the answer to that question is, you know, we set the budget as a commissioner for the Sheriff's Department, the sanitation, the ambulance service. We set the budget for all of those. But what people don't really understand is that once we present a budget, or once they present it, and then we give them the funds, we have nothing to do with it. And if you're running for commission or are a commissioner now, you'll see that. You'll see that, you know, you're sitting there and you get to vote on certain things, but you don't have anything to do with the department head's money. Thank you.
Yes, let's go ahead, Coach. We'd like to go ahead and do an introduction for us there, please.
I'm sorry. My name is Alvin Evans. I'm a resident of Jellicoe, Tennessee. Been on the commission. This is ending the 4th year. Retired school teacher at Jellicoe High School, 39 years. Retired from the military, Army Reserve, and active Army with 37 years. And I'm a candidate for commission.
Thank you. Now, the three of you need to go on now, I guess. Is that the case? Okay, all right. Charles, Pam, Coach, thank you all for coming over. You're going to wait. Okay, all right, good enough. We go ahead and finish with the opening comments. Ralph Davis, we'll put you on the introduction spot here, sir. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
For y'all that don't know me, I'm Ralph Davis. I've been married for 37 years. I've been in Jellicoe for 37 years. I've been in business for 32 years. I'm a licensed contractor in the state of Tennessee. I've done commercial work, I've done residential work, I've done federal government work, state work, county work. I have 2 children. One lives in Jacksboro, Scott, with his wife Amy and their 2 beautiful daughters. I have a daughter that lives at Woodridge, Tennessee with her husband, Brandon, and my 2 beautiful grandsons. I'm a patent. I own a patent of the United States Patent Office. I invented a Star Square. My wife said, why does people need to know this? I want you all to know that I've got a background of being in business. I own a metal business. I sell metal. Went to high school here, graduated from Jellicoe. I'm the 10th kid of 13. 9 of my brothers and sisters, we all own our business. So I've got business background. I've worked for a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people. And when it comes to government, we only have we don't have problems. We have issues. When you don't work out your issues, then you have problems. So if you come to me with something going on in the community, maybe I can't do it, but I can go to the person that can fix it. That's what I'm running on. Back of my cards, it ain't about the front, it's about you in the back. You elect me, and when I'm in office, you bring me my card back and say this needs to be done in my community, and I'll see that it gets done. If I can't get it done, I'll call you back if you put your name and your number on here. And I'm a born-again Christian. Last time I spoke in front of a bunch of crowds, I did not do that, and it embarrassed me. But if you want honesty, you'll get me. If you don't, you'll just have to vote for who you want to. Appreciate it.
Very good. Ralph Davis running for County Commission in the 5th District. We now go to Ron Hudson. And we know how to spell his name. It just didn't come out that way, Ron. Ron, go ahead, sir.
That's all right, the way it goes. My name is Ron Hudson. I'm running for County Commissioner. I worked as a nurse, team leader, made many critical decisions while a nurse, a professional truck driver, helping to build highways, parking lots, and buildings. I've been an electrician, carpenter, machinist, and I've also worked in the coal strip mines. I'm running because I want equal representation for the 5th District, Campbell County.
Thank you, Ron Hudson. Now we go now to Robert Hicks, running for County Commission, 5th District. Robert?
I'm Robert Hicks, and this is new at me and everything. I've never been in office before, but I'm wanting to try to help the people on this side of the mountain. And everything just seems like it's going good for me. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Robert. Now, will we go to a question for Coach, maybe to let him, he's going to leave here in just a moment, as we're going to go to Joe King with the La Follette Press. Oh, my goodness. This is a long one here. Here we go, sir.
The President Commission at one point eliminated the discretionary fund for individual commissioners to earmark donations to schools and other nonprofit groups, then reinstated it. Do you favor keeping the discretionary fund or returning it to the past practice of requiring nonprofits to apply for county support during the budget process?
Okay. And we're going to let Coach answer that, let him go so he can kind of still stay with us a little bit longer. Coach Alvin Evans.
I do agree with the discretionary funds. For one thing, there's a lot of people that you can help. There's nonprofit organizations. There's just the schools especially that need a little bit of help here and there, and you can take that discretionary money and donate it to these people. And you know, we have Elk Valley, we have White Oak, we have Jellicoe High School, Jellicoe Elementary School, and there's sports teams, there's programs in the school that need a little money. And if you have those discretionary funds, you can donate it to these people where some of those programs wouldn't be active or finished without those discretionary funds. It's not a big problem, but I do think if it poses a problem to where we have to raise a tax, a penny or 2 pennies to get these discretionary funds, then I might be against them. But right now, as long as we've got the money, I think that the discretionary funds are a good thing for the schools and athletic programs and other programs in the schools.
Thank you. And I have a question. Is that $4,000, Coach? Is that what each commissioner gets?
This year it was $2,500. It was $2,500 for each commissioner.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Who goes next? Charles Boomer Winfrey. And we're using a different microphone tonight, so if we can get it just a little bit closer to your voice, that'll help out tonight for everybody. Okay, get the glass. We're showing our age tonight. I wear mine all the time.
What should the county budget emphasize? Please name a specific item you would cut or add.
Okay, where shall we go with this question? Okay. Okay, ask it to everybody. All right, Ralph Davis.
Read the question again.
Yes, sir.
What should the county budget emphasize? Please name a specific item that you would cut or add.
Well, until I see the budget, I wouldn't really know what to cut. But I would thoroughly look over, and, you know, when we put a budget together, sometimes we ask for a lot more in one item, they do the other, so they get what they want. So far as, you know, there's 40,716 people that live in Campbell County, as far as in year 10. And we have to look and make sure we're not cutting stuff that's going to harm no one. 5th District, all of them. And as far as the county goes, there's 2,000 employees in Campbell County. 2,000. Give or take 1 or 2, according to what I was told yesterday. You know, if everybody is making $15 an hour and we go to cut their pay, you know, $15 an hour, it's $30,000 an hour our county has to have money for. If you add that up to a day, that's $240,000 a day we got to have money for. That's $1.2 million a week, $62 million and $400,000 a year that we've got to have. So when we go to cutting, we got to make sure we don't harm the people that we're supporting. You know, 2,000 employees, if there's 4 to a family, that's 8,000 people. It's nearly 5% of the people in Campbell County that works for this county. So we got to make sure when we do cuts, we're cutting to save these jobs and not to put waste in a $1 million playground when some people in the 5th District needs roads paved water in their house, and we don't want to spend $200,000 for that. We got to look and make sure when we do cut, we're not hurting the people that needs it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ralph Davis. We'll pose this question to Robert Hudson. Robert, what should the county budget emphasize? And please name a specific item you would cut or add.
I still having trouble with my name, but I've not had a chance to assess the budget, so I'm not going to make a statement on it. I've not been a county commissioner up to this point, so I'm going to pass this nut.
Okay, thank you, Ron Hudson. Running for County Commission 5th District, Robert Hicks. Robert, what should the county budget emphasize? Please name a specific item you would cut or add.
Well, right now I don't know because I'm not in office yet, and I won't know until I get there to find out. And then I'll look over the budget good. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Coach Alvin Evans, what should the county budget emphasize? And please name a specific item you would cut or add.
I'm going to tend to agree a little bit with Ralph, but what you got to understand is, you know, there's some budget things. The school budget, you can't cut the school budget. You can talk about it, and you can say, I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut that, and I don't hurt anybody's feelings, but you can't. The school budget is directed to us. You cannot give them 1 penny less than what they got last year. I mean, that's by law. You can say, well, I'm going to cut Robbie Goins' sheriff's department. You can't. It's delegated, those funds are, and people has to realize, you know, the road superintendent. I know Stinking Creek and White Oak, the roads are sad, but I cry about them every time we meet. And we have some people here, Boomer for one, that attends those meetings, and he hears me say something about the roads. But we give the road superintendent X amount of dollars. He can put it right there in a pile if he wants to, and you cannot do anything about it. So the budget is, Jeff Marlowe presents it to us. We can go over it line item. We can talk about it, but the biggest part of it, you accept and hope you got enough money to balance it with the taxes that we have.
Thank you, sir. Alvin Evans, candidate for County Commission. He is incumbent on the panel this evening. And our next question is coming from Kennedy Walden. Kennedy is a junior to be at Jellicoe High School. And Kennedy, what do you have for us?
What would you do to help recruit industry to the county?
Okay, where shall we go with this question first? Yes. What would you do to help recruit industry to Campbell County? Okay, we'll go to Robert Hicks on the left end. Robert, we'll give you this question again. What would you do to help recruit industry to Campbell County?
Well, I would do the best I could to get work and stuff in here, what we need. Right now, we don't have no work, or everybody votes against everything. Thank you.
Okay, Robert Hicks, thank you, sir. Ron Hudson, what would you do to help recruit industry to Campbell County?
Well, I guess we need to advertise, show what quality of people we have in Campbell County and the skills we have. Up to this point, I just have to wait till I get into office to see what we could do. But I think advertising would be a major thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ron Hudson. And what would you do to help recruit industry to the county? We'll go to Ralph Davis. Ralph?
First of all, I would tell everybody that we have 4 state parks in Campbell County. If you want to come here, you got places to camp, take your family. We got hiking trails. We got North Lake. And someone said, well, do you have the workforce? If you go down at La Follette and sit there one morning and see hundreds of people leaving Campbell County to go to Knoxville and go to the other surrounding counties to work, we've got the workforce. We've got I-75 going down the middle of it one way. We've got 63 going the other way. We've got railroads. We have got churches. We've got good people. Campbell County has got everything it needs. We need a mayor that will go with the commissioners and help us bring in industry. We've got it. We just got to sell it. It's like looking for a wife. You want to look for a good woman? Look for Campbell County. We're the best place. If God come to earth to live, I believe he'd want to live in Campbell County. I'm proud to be a Campbell Countian, and I will work hard to bring industry in here. If you want a voice for yourself, you know, I'm representing, if I'm elected, 8,000 people in each district. There's 5 districts, 40, that makes up the districts. When I'm sitting on that board, first of all, I'm speaking for the 5th district. I'm a voice for 8,000. If they won't let you talk, you tell me. I may disagree with you. I may not like what you want, but I will talk for you. But foremost, I've got family in every district. I got aunts and uncles. I got a son who lives in the other districts. I'm all Campbell County. I am all Campbell County. And I think we need to sell what we got. If you're looking for a horse, you want one that ain't got a broke leg. Campbell County don't have a broke leg. It's just got people in it that won't work. Get them out and get them in. Put the right people in the right places, from the judges on down. If you don't like what they're doing, don't cry about it. Vote them out. I'm Ralph Davis, and I'll be your voice for Campbell County.
Thank you, Ralph. Ralph Davis, candidate for commission, 5th District. And for Coach Alvin Evans, what would you do to help recruit industry to Campbell County?
I think development and looking for industry starts with the mayor that we have and the mayor that you vote in. Whoever the mayor is, that's the one it starts with. He's full-time, he's there, he has committees, and I'm not promoting any mayor. I'm just saying that it has to start with him because, like I say, he has a full-time job. And us as commissioners to be, you know, we got to sit there and listen. And if a good program comes by, we got to vote, yes or no. We think that's good. Do we need to try to spend a little money to bring this in? Do we need to spend some money to bring that in? You know, there has to be somebody step up and do that. Now, as far as the commissioner's concerned, you know, as an individual, we go to Nashville and we go to a couple of places as commission to look for these things and talk to people and talk to our legislative people. But as an individual sitting here, I can't just get up and go to Memphis. I can't go to these places by myself and do this. I got to have help too, but it's got to start at the top, and you've got to get behind whoever is at the top and try to work together to do this.
Thank you, Alvin Evans, incumbent and running for re-election for County Commission District 5. Who has our next question for us? I'm going to go back to Joe. Joe, don't pull out as big a question as you did a while ago. How about that? Something a little shorter, maybe? There you go. Joe King.
Could the districts be restructured to reduce the number of commissioners on the board and therefore save the county money?
Okay, who's going to start for us, Karen? Okay, we'll go to Mr. Ralph Davis. Ralph, could the districts be restructured to reduce the number of commissioners on the board and therefore save the county money?
Well, if it's going, that's what it's going to take. I don't. Then you can elect 3. I wouldn't have a problem if I was running if there's only elect 2. If it's just electing 1, it wouldn't bother me one bit because I feel like when I get in there, I'm going to do the best job I can, and I'm going to work for you. I won't lie to you. You ask me something, I may make you mad, but you won't be mad at me tomorrow because I lied to you. I'll tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. And if 3 commissioners can't do the job, then we need 2. But we need to save money everywhere, not just on the commissioners, the school board, everybody. We got waste. And sometimes the reason we have waste is people had, like I said before, we ask for more than we need, so we get what we need. That's just like your kids. Daddy, I need $10 to go to the movies. It only costs $1 to get in. Well, I want some popcorn. There's where the $9 go. It's the necessities that we got to have. So I have no problem. If I was wanting to run for mayor, I'd want to run one-on-one. I wouldn't want, if I was going to run commissioner, school board, I'd rather it be just two of us. You have a better chance of picking the right guy. And I appreciate it, and thank you.
Ralph Davis. Who's next? We go to Coach Alvin Evans. And the question is, could the districts be restructured to reduce the number of commissioners on the board and therefore save the county money?
I'm not real sure about the restructuring of the districts, but I do favor dropping the commission down to at least 2. I said that forever. I think that 3 is too many. I think that 2 could do the job. We used to do it with 1. But you got to look at the 5th district. We go all the way to La Follette. We go to Newcomb, Elk Valley, Duff, Habersham, Primroy. I mean, we cover a big district. We're in the districts in the 2nd, 3rd, even the 4th maybe, you know, you can just about walk to all your places. But, you know, we got to go a long way, and we have a lot of people to represent. But as far as the savings of money, I agree. I think it should be 2, and I would be more than happy if I'm elected to commission to vote for 2. I wouldn't have a bit of problem with that.
Thank you, Alvin Evans. We now go to Ron Hudson. And Ron, could the districts be restructured to reduce the number of commissioners on the board and therefore save the county money?
Well, I don't know the legal things about that. A fellow did mention to me a while back about alternating the elections of the commissioners so they don't start out everybody new after an election. We've got 15 commissioners for the whole county, but the 5th district covers just about half the county. So you'd have to consider the size and the square mileage and the people, I guess, the population. So the other districts are small compared to the 5th district.
Thank you, Ron Hudson. And we now go to Robert Hicks. Robert, could the districts be restructured to reduce the number of commissioners on the board and therefore save the county some money?
Well, I don't know. You got to work 2 different ways on that. Because one is that the county commissioners has got more work than they can really get done. And they got to hang in there to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert Hicks, candidate for County Commission, 5th District. And is that 3? We've gone 3. That went quickly. Okay. Now, where do we begin with our closing comments, final remarks? Go to Robert Hicks. Mr. Hicks, we'll give you 2 minutes to make your closing remarks, sir.
Well, I'm here to represent the 5th District on this side of the mountain, and I want to get to see this side of the mountain grow. And right now, it's not growing any. It hasn't in the last probably 15, 20 years. Everything's been voted out of the county. Thank you.
Final comments now from Ron Hudson. Ron?
My closing statement will be, I've not had a chance to assess the budget, so I can't speak on that. I'm not yet a commissioner, but we need higher paying jobs, which would help to bring more money into the county, improving the tax base, and in turn would give more money to spend on education, and education is what it all comes down to.
Thank you, Ron Hudson. Now closing comments from Alvin, Coach Evans. Coach?
The 5th District is what I would like to represent. Right now I do, and hope to in the future. The county as a whole, they look at us as the other side of the mountain. And as a commissioner, I've kind of accepted that because I don't have a choice. But as a commissioner, you know, I got helped get $80,000 in Jellicoe for a new ballpark. I helped the American Legion get $3,000 to help their honor guard. I've done as much as I could do as an individual in trying to appropriate money. It's just going to take some of these people. You gotta get there. You gotta come to a meeting to see how it works, and you're not going to go in there. You are one of 15, And I've learned, and since I've been there, I've got to make friends with those other 12. If I don't make friends with those other 12, I'm not going to get anything, because I got to have 8 votes. Now, you can take 8 votes and sell Jacksboro. I mean, that's all it takes. But you got to have 8 votes, and you got to be friends with them. You can go in there with hostility and anything you want to, but you got to make some friends and hope that when something comes up you can get, they'll vote your way. And then you hope the money's there to do it with. Now, contrary to what people may think, this is going to be a tight budget. Our budget will be set around September. So the new commissioners will be the ones that set the budget. It's waiting on us, or waiting on them, one or the other. But there's going to be some big surprises. Like I say, there's going to be a couple of them that's going to get their money. The school system is not going to lose a dime. They're going to get everything that they got last year. And hopefully there will be some more to give them to do other programs with.
Thank you. Incumbent Alvin Evans, running for re-election for County Commission in District 5. Now to Ralph Davis. Ralph?
Well, thank everyone for coming out. You know, people don't realize how much time it takes just to run a campaign. And they don't realize how much time that once you're elected, it takes to do your job. And I'm willing to take and do the work that I got to do. When I'm elected, I want to get all the 15 commissioners and all the 10 school board members, and I'd like to set a day and time for every one of them to meet me at White Oak School. I don't want to say a word to them. I just want them to walk through the school. Then I want them to go to Elk Valley, just walk through that school. And then when we have the next meeting, I'm going to ask them, how many of you have got friends and family in the 5th District? Like I said a while ago, I got family all over this county. I know some of the men that's running. I know some of the men that's in office. Some of them is married to people from over here. So if they love this county as much as Ralph Davis does, then they'll be willing to help me help my people. I want to give them everything they would deserve. I want to get what we deserve. It shouldn't be a dogfight. It should be a family affair. We're all Campbell Countyans. I don't look at that as the other side of the mountain. Because when I say the other side of the mountain, my son lives over there. I've got aunts and uncles. So what I'm saying is, we got to put somebody over there that I can get along with anybody, but you ain't gonna push me around. I'm gonna stand up for what we need, what we deserve, and sometimes we get more than we deserve. But on the way up to White Oak, I want them to come through Sled Creek and through there, and if their car's still intact when they get there, they want to give us the money to pave that road. Elk Valley needed to drop ceilings. Well, they got them, but they took them out of another school and brought them over there and put them in new ones. We don't need to accept that. We don't need to accept that. Thank you. Ralph Davis.
Ralph, thank you. Thank you to Ralph Davis, Alvin Coach Evans, Ron Hudson, Robert Hicks, Pam Carbaugh, Charles C. Vermillion, those who came tonight to answer the questions and for you to meet. We thank them. Let's give them a great big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And now we move on to our sheriff's candidates, as we have 3, and we'll swap out nameplates. Karen will take care of that. And fellas, don't forget your waters here. As we have with us the 3 candidates. You're welcome. Yes, sir. Take it with you. Souvenir. Our candidates, Sheriff Robbie Goins, Pete Hatfield, and Gary Perkins. We're going to just take a brief moment here to get everything set up. As we are in our 3rd of 3 candidate forums hosted by WLAF and the La Follette Press. We are at Jellicoe High School this evening. We had previous forums at Jacksboro Middle and La Follette Middle School. As we're getting settled in here, Pete Hatfield's to the left, in the middle is Robbie Goins, to the right is Gary Perkins, as we're getting our panel set. And Does everybody have a water? Okay, we're good to go. Where shall we start with the introductions, Karen? Okay, we'll start with Mr. Gary Perkins, and each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening remarks. Gary?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Gary Perkins. I was born and raised here in Jellicoe, Tennessee. I started my law enforcement career here in Jellicoe in 1982 with the Jellicoe Police Department, and I've had a very rewarding career, and I've progressed thoroughly throughout it. I started at the City Police in 1984, moved on to the Campbell County Sheriff's Department in 1984, and then I was a deputy sheriff, then I was a patrol sergeant, and then I was a DARE instructor that I actually went into the classroom and taught about 1,500 students, and actually had that personal hands-on with our greatest possession, and that's our children. I actually got to bond with them in there. I went on to be a K-9 handler. I went on from that to be a narcotics investigator. I've handled some narcotics investigation on several occasions. And I've been a criminal investigator where I've handled and prosecuted successfully some very serious cases in the criminal court system in Campbell County. And from that, I went on to be a Tennessee State Trooper, where I was a Tennessee State Trooper for 18 months, and then I was elected Sheriff of Campbell County from 2006 until 2010. And my goal is to get back and be the Sheriff of this county to restore pride and integrity and accountability back to the Sheriff's Office and have mature, responsible leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary Perkins. For Sheriff, now we go to the incumbent, Sheriff Robbie Goins. Sheriff?
First of all, I want to thank WLAF and the press for doing these meetings. It's great. This is what it's all about, getting out and seeing people. We were at Deerfield the other night, and I think it's essential that we do this in the county, that we get to see each other, hear everybody's opinion, and I want to thank you guys. Well, it's been an honor to be your sheriff for the past 4 years. I don't take it lightly. I tried to give you guys 110%, and I think it showed. I've got my record to run on, and I want you guys to research and look at what we've done for the past 4 years. There's been a lot of things going on when I took office. Made it a lot harder to get started. So we thought, first of all, what had to happen was to get your all's trust and to get our credibility built back up. And I feel that that's happened. I can't say enough about my staff. I'm truly blessed with good people. I think a good leader has good people, and I have that they make the Sheriff's Department really click, and that's what I think that's a big part of why we're so successful. Thank you all.
Thank you, Robbie Goins. We now go to Pete Hatfield for opening comments. Pete?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you inviting us over. I appreciate WLAF, La Follette Press for putting the forum together. I think we need more. I think it's got to be a community effort. And I think throughout the year we need more. Whoever you elect as sheriff, I think ever so often you should have these forums, and I think it keeps people on their toes. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my qualifications. I've got 28 years experience. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I've worked for 5 different sheriffs. I've graduated from 2 different police academies. I got a bunch of special schools, and I've worked mostly in Campbell County. And if I get elected, I want to be a community sheriff. I want to do my part. I'm going to be in your schools and do school security. I don't want to say where I'm going to be each day, but I'm going to try to help get more security at your schools, and I'm going to do some security at these schools for y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete Hatfield, candidate for sheriff. Who has our first question this evening? Is it going to be Kennedy? Who's it going to be? Boomer. No, I thought you were pointing toward. I didn't mean to. Oh, yeah, I messed it up there. Kennedy's a lot prettier than you fellas anyway, okay? All right. Kennedy Walden, what do you have for us?
How will you deal with lawsuits filed against the sheriff's office?
Okay. And who will answer this question first, Karen? Okay, we will go to Pete Hatfield with this question, and the question is, how will you deal with lawsuits filed against the Sheriff's Department? Pete?
Anytime you're in the public image and anybody that's been in law enforcement, you're going to get accused of a lot. And these law enforcement, that's just part of their daily life, really. If you're in law enforcement and don't think you're going to get sued, you're wrong. You can ask Sheriff Robbie Goins, you can ask me, you can ask previous Sheriff Gary Perkins, and we've all been sued. And if you do your job, you're going to get accused of a lot. So getting sued just an everyday thing. We're going to try to work as hard as we can to keep from just going to court and paying out. I'm sure that nobody wants to go to court and say, hey, we're just going to roll over and play dead here. We have got to try to save you money, but you're going to get sued. When you're in law enforcement, you're going to get sued.
Pete, thank you. How will you deal with lawsuits filed against the Sheriff's Office? Sheriff Goins?
Well, first of all, I think that it takes having a good quality team of people that have done their job in the right manner first. There's no way to combat us getting a lawsuit. I mean, that's part of what we do. It's part of it. But if you've got your ducks in a row and you've done a good arrest and you got a good case, that's something we can take to court and defend ourselves. We have here recently been bombarded with them, and I plan on following through with every one of them. It's ridiculous that the taxpayer has to pay money and we're found not guilty. Either way, taxpayer has to pay some money, and it's pathetic. It is. It's pathetic. We live in a world like this, but it's part of it. But we're going to continue doing our job regardless if we get sued. It doesn't stop us from doing what we're doing. But like I say, we don't. I'm not for just paying out and just handing out to lawyers so they can line their pocketbooks, so to say. But it's something that we can't stop. We wouldn't have any control over.
Thank you, Robbie Goins. We now go to Gary Perkins. Gary, how will you deal with lawsuits filed against the Sheriff's Office?
First of all, the way I'm going to deal with it is through training. You have to have your staff adequately trained. They have to have mature leadership, and believe it or not, they have to have discipline within that office. They got to know when they get in there and they're representing the citizens of this county, which is 40,000 plus, they have a lot of responsibility when they put that uniform on and think that they can go out and change the world and everyone else is beneath them. I'm here to tell you, folks, that's not going to happen under my watch. And you can go back on my record and see. Now, yes, you will get sued in this, but if you get your officers out there and you get them trained the right way to approach people, the right way to make an arrest, and to treat the people that's been put into the intake facility there, get them the necessary treatment that they need for a medical situation or whatever, and just do things the right way. Another thing is when you arrest someone, I was a sergeant, I was a patrol sergeant, and I'd always tell them before you place your hand on somebody, you need to have three things run through your mind right quick. Can I get this through a preliminary hearing? Can I get this through a grand jury? Can I get this passed through a jury trial in criminal court? You need to think of all that. Don't arrest somebody just because somebody makes you mad or you're just trying to prove a point or you just want to be a tush hog. But that's my goal, is when I get back in there, and I had a great staff when I was in there. There's some outstanding employees for this Sheriff's Department right here that's in this room. There's some outstanding employees, and I look forward to working with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary Perkins. Our next question, is it going to be Boomer, Charlotte, Joe? Looks like Charlotte's taking the lead here. Charlotte Underwood will ask our next question. Charlotte?
How would you decide the priority of cases and what suspects to go after first? So case priority.
Case priority. How would you decide the priority of cases and what suspects to go after first? Karen, where do we go with this question? Start in the middle, okay, with Sheriff Robbie Goins. Sheriff?
Just a few weeks back, I think we proved that. We had a little girl that lost her life here in our county, and we spent almost 26 hours looking for a guy that done that to his child. That goes back to our staff. I've got an amazing staff of people that have been trained and have really good qualifications. I've probably got some of the best people in East Tennessee. I know I've got one of the best child abuse investigators in East Tennessee. You can ask anybody about him, and they'll agree with me. But as far as it takes training, it takes some leadership, it takes someone who cares. That's not going to lay something down and let it lay for months and then go back to it and try to work a case. But we put children first in our county. I don't care who, and second to that would be drug dealers. I mean, if you're a drug dealer, you'd be insane to vote for me because I'm going to be coming after you sooner or later. But that's our priorities, kids, and then the drug dealers. I mean, drug dealers in our county are 98% of our problem. That's why these kids get abused. The people who would sell a pill are the people who don't care about our kids. I mean, it's just the way it is. My opinion, I think that the people who do that should have to work in Children's Hospital for about a week and see these kids. But I feel we're already doing that. I'm confident that we are handling these cases in the right manner and getting the right people in jail.
How would you decide the priority of cases and what suspects to go after first? Gary Perkins.
The way I would decide that, of course, would be by the seriousness of the crime. And, you know, like I said, depending on, you know, the seriousness of the crime. And there's one thing for sure that I've been hearing a lot since I've been out here going door to door and talking to the fine people here of Campbell County is if you have a crime that has taken place and you need assistance from the sheriff's office, you had a break-in or so forth, you know, I've had some of them tell me that they would call and that all they would get was make me a list and drop it off. Make me a list and drop it off. I want to make a promise to the people that if you call for a sheriff's deputy to come to your residence, you've had a break-in, you'll see a uniformed officer, and if it's serious, more serious than that, you'll see a detective, you know, get in there. And we're going to work cases, you know, the most serious first. And the main thing that I want to make the public know is that if elected sheriff, I will never exploit any case, depending on how serious it is, for political gain. I always remember that. Thank you.
Gary Perkins. We now go to Pete Hatfield. Pete, how would you decide the priority of cases and what suspects to go after first?
I'm deciding that on your cases, when you say priority, that's what it is. You know, are we looking at a murder case? Are we looking at a rape case? Are we looking at a stolen lawnmower? So we're going to have to take our calls in priority, you know, and that's in the everyday shift of a deputy. You know, if he gets a call that there's say a 46, that's a wreck with injuries, is he going to go there or go take a report on a stolen lawnmower? So priority is just what it means. Look at the case, see how serious each one of them is, and take it 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Pete Hatfield. As we're asking each candidate 3 questions tonight, and who has our next question? Looks like Boomer Winfrey. As we have panelists of Joe King and Boomer Winfrey, Kennedy Walden, Charlotte Underwood, Karen Coomerich is here, and Boomer, what do you have for us?
Okay. How important is it to work with other law enforcement agencies? What steps would you take to strengthen cooperation among area departments?
Okay. Let's ask that again, if we can get this mic cable out of the way. How important is it to work with other law enforcement agencies, and what steps would you take to strengthen cooperation among area departments? We go to Gary Perkins. Is that where we go? Okay, Gary.
Thank you very much. Cooperation and working with other departments is a must, as well as working with members throughout the community, different precincts or whatever, and talking to community members. But in order to be successful, you most definitely have to work. You've got your chiefs of police, you got your Jellicoe chief of police, Caryville, La Follette, and Jacksboro. And you have your DTF that you need to work with. And with everyone working together and piling all their information together, it just makes it more beneficial to help solve the crimes and get the most accomplished by working together. So I'm a firm believer in working with other departments. I know when I was a Tennessee State Trooper, we would work with a lot of different agencies. And there's another agency that, you know, we didn't want to leave out, is Tennessee Highway Patrol. There's so many, the TBI, Tennessee Highway Patrol, the FBI, the DEA. I mean, the list could go on and on. But if elected your sheriff, I make a promise to you that we will work aggressively with all local, county, federal, and state governments. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary Perkins. How important is it to work with other law enforcement agencies, and what steps would you take to strengthen cooperation among area departments? Robbie Goins.
When I first was elected, I talked to some lieutenants at the Highway Patrol, and they were absolutely amazed that we were going to help them work wrecks. They would sometimes have to travel 50 minutes to come and work a small wreck, and we got people standing on the side of the road. We changed that. We work wrecks. We help the Highway Patrol, they help us. I work with any department in this county, glad to. We got a great relationship. The Drug Task Force, we would be lost without the Drug Task Force. We're not blessed enough to have a whole team of people working narcotics in our county, so we have to depend on each other, and that's what we do. We work together. When I first started, I met a guy named Steve Dillon from the Governor's Highway Safety Office. He said he could never break into the Sheriff's Department. He said he was turned away when he came up. 4 years later, and $100,000 in grant money and probably $50,000 in equipment, we're still good friends, and he takes good care of Campbell County. We're one of the only sheriff's departments that really get involved with the Governor's Highway Safety Office. And you know, at the DUI checkpoint, he's one that orchestrates that and gets that together, and all we do is help him. That's it. We got $100,000 from them, and probably at least $150,000 worth of training free to this county, just through them. But as far as working with other people, we have to. We have to work together. We have to share information. We do it on a daily basis, and I just look forward to doing it for more years as your sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff Robbie Goins. We now go to Pete Hatfield. Pete, how important is it to work with other agencies, and what steps do you take to strengthen that cooperation among the departments?
Working with other departments is a must. You just can't be a one-man gang. You know, I know some of the departments here, you cities, and even the Sheriff's Department, we're small and we don't have all the equipment that we need. But if you'll get a close relation like the Knoxville Police Department or Knoxville Sheriff's Department, they have a lot more equipment than we do out here. You know, they have helicopters that we can use. They have bomb squads that will come out and help us anytime. So you can't be a one-man gang. You have got to work with other departments. It's just like both of these gentlemen said. You cannot do it by yourself. You know, we sometimes on the afternoons, or you know, the deputies might be real busy. Then what are we going to do? You know, we'll use Jellicoe Police Department, La Follette, Jacksboro, and anytime that we've asked for help, we've got it. If you'll keep a good working relationship, then you'll get it.
Thank you, Pete Hatfield. Was that our third question? We're going to do another one. Okay. We've moved rather quickly this evening. And Joe King is looking in the fishbowl for a question. Joe?
What is your stance on punishment versus rehabilitation? What should be done about repeat offenders?
Okay. Who will get this question? Where do we go? Let's go back to Pete Hatfield. What is your stance on punishment versus rehabilitation? What should be done about repeat offenders? Pete Hatfield.
I think it needs to go hand in hand. You know, we've had a bunch of repeat offenders. We've had people that's been arrested several times, and I heard the sheriff say before, if they break the law, they're going to jail. So it's got to go hand in hand. You know, I'll agree with it. If you break the law, you need to be put in jail, but we have got to do something. We've got some people that's run up $66,000 bill, and she does need a rehabilitation. I just don't think that it's fair that we let a person keep going in debt. We have got to figure out some way to get some of the taxpayers' money back. And this is a big issue. It's a big thing for everybody. You know, who do we need to look at? So, rehabilitation on some, and if they're going to keep, you know, you can't get them through rehabilitation or schools, then we just keep putting the sentence to them. You know, give them 1129 this week, and they're there next week, we'll add more.
Thank you, Pete Hatfield. We go to Robbie Goins now. What is your stance on punishment versus rehab? What should be done about repeat offenders?
We have in the Sheriff's Department, in our correction facility, we do some faith-based rehabilitation. We have Celebrate Recovery who comes in and does some things like that for us. It's been successful. We've had some people who went out on to some other programs that the church offers after they get out. But that's a tricky question. I don't know if there is a true answer. It takes somebody wanting to be rehabbed, from what I see, and a world that has no people who sells pills, you know, or who sells meth. Which meth in our county has dropped tremendously. We have people going to doctors and selling pills, and why would they make meth when they can sell pills? But it's a tricky question. I don't know the true answer. I'd be lying to you if I did. I don't know. It takes somebody wanting it in their heart to get rehabilitated. I think that there's a lot of people out there who prey off these folks that will take them in for a month. There's no way you can get off these hard addictions in a month. They're just taking their money. But I couldn't tell you the true answer. That would be a perfect world, and we don't live in one.
Thank you, Sheriff Robbie Goins. We now go to Gary Perkins. And Gary, what is your stance on punishment versus rehabilitation? What should be done about repeat offenders?
Well, I'm a firm believer in rehabilitation. Certainly, I can raise my hand and say I've made a mistake in life. I need a second chance to get myself, you know, back on the plumb. And but you know, if rehabilitation, you know, will help them the first time, you know, I'm all for it. You know, the next time. But as far as the punishment on the crime, you know, that's up to our court system. And a lot of people says, well, I don't agree with the court system, but well, you know what? That's the way it is. It's not perfect, but that's the American way. And we just have to abide by it and take it and go. But that's the best thing we can ever come up with. And a lot of people says it's just not right, but that's the way it is. But as I look back through and we talk about a lot of the crimes, just about everything, you know, we deal with. I know whenever I was promoted to the rank of detective, I started when I first started in the jail, or a deputy over there in 1984. I bet you at that time there probably wasn't 4 people, females, as in the county jail. But as time progressed, things got worse, you know, and they got the pill addiction started and everything. And now, I know when I was over there was probably 30 in there at that time, and it was overcrowded. But you know, the crimes has just increased, or you know, so much over the past 20 years. But we just have to try to, you know, encourage people to stay away from the drugs and keep a proactive approach on it, and just constantly work aggressively on the drug problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary Perkins, candidate for sheriff of Campbell County. Are we ready for closing comments? We are. This has gone by quickly. 2 minutes for closing comments, and who do we begin with here? We'll go right back to Gary Perkins. Gary?
Thank you very much. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone that has appeared here today. I can tell that there's a lot of interest in all the candidates here. And, you know, I was born and raised here in Campbell County. I love Campbell County. I'm going to have to say that I copy off Ralph Davis. I love this county better than anything. I love law enforcement better than anything. That's all I've done all my adult life for 28 consecutive years. And I had a very rewarding career in it. And I feel like that with my knowledge and my training, that I can get this office back on track again, folks. I'm here to tell you, we're going backwards. It's time to get back on track, get things focused, get a mature, experienced veteran leader in there that can move this the right way, get your deputies trained, get some good supervisors out there that are adequately trained to supervise, and the main thing is to have the deputies get out in your communities. We've got to have in this 5th district, I know if I go back in there, when I was over here, I was a sergeant over this area, you had 5 deputies and a patrol sergeant. And I pledge to you, the people of the 5th district, that we will go back to that the way that was. That's a must. And it's going to go back to that. I think that the suit division is overloaded. I'm not saying, you know, there's some ways that you can move that around. You know, if they've got a title, you can get them out and use them in these neighborhoods as far as driving a marked patrol car, protecting these people as you go to work, as you go to church, whatever. So remember, early voting starts tomorrow. So vote for Gary Perkins. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, candidate for sheriff of Campbell County. Early voting begins at 9 a.m. We now go for closing comments for 2 minutes with Sheriff Robbie Goins. Rob.
One thing I'd like to say is the person who had told Mr. Perkins that we didn't answer a call or something about the paperwork, we've got a good line of how we trace that from the 911 call that they I guess they've called in on. And if they hear this, let me know. I mean, I don't care a bit to look into it. That's what we do every day. We for sure answer our calls, and we do reports. We do hundreds a week. But it's been truly, truly an honor. I feel it is an honor to be sheriff, to be able to get y'all's trust and confidence in me to lead this department. I think we've got a long ways to go, but we've come a long ways. We had a broken department when I got elected. I mean, we were a complete failure. We're a laughing stock of East Tennessee. We're not now. People respect us again. I think the people respect us. They have trust in us. And for the ones that don't, we want to gain your trust. It takes all of us working together. We've hit the road running. We've not looked back. And we've got really good people, like I say. Truly a blessing to be here and to be sitting in this position. And I want to ask you for your vote and to get reelected as sheriff of Campbell County. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sheriff Robbie Goins. We now go for closing comments from Pete Hatfield. Pete?
I really appreciate y'all having me over tonight. I agree with what Mr. Hicks and Mr. Evans said. You've been left out on this side of the mountain. You know, I don't think you've got your fair share. And if I'm elected sheriff, I'm going to see that you do get your fair share. We're always on the other side of the mountain. You know, we shouldn't be divided. We don't divide your tax, so we shouldn't be divided. We don't say this is Jellicoe's tax and this is La Follette tax. So if I get elected, I'm going to try my best to see that Jellicoe gets their fair share. I appreciate you, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our candidates for sheriff, Pete Hatfield, Robbie Goins, Gary Perkins. A round of applause for these gentlemen this evening. Thank you. gentlemen, thank you for coming out this evening. We now go to our school board candidates for 5th District, and we'll have the same format. We have two. I know that Elsie's here. Let's see. Is Crystal is here as well? Okay. Well, no, there are 5. Only 2 that have shown up. Well, we will talk with 2 candidates for school board from the 5th District as we're coming to you this evening from Jellicoe High School. Actually, there are 4 candidates. Johnny Creekmore is here, our incumbent. Okay. We have Crystal Creekmore, Elsie Bates Crawford, and then Johnny Creekmore as candidates for school board in the 5th District. So we're going to swap out questions out of the fishbowl. This is broadcast this evening over WLAF radio. If you'd like to see a televised playback of this, watch 1450WLAF.com. We should have this posted for you sometime Friday night, 1450WLAF.com. Johnny Creekmore, Crystal G. Creekmore, Elsie Bates Crawford, the 3 candidates here this evening for school board in the 5th District. So we're having a mass exodus here after the sheriff's candidates spoke. So some folks leaving. As we're getting ready to start with questions here in just a moment, we will open with 2-minute comments from each of the 3 candidates here this evening. There's a total of 4 candidates for school board, but 3 are here this evening. And Karen, are we ready? Where shall we begin? Let's start in the middle, Crystal. It's the spotlight's on you. Crystal Creekmore is running for school board in the 5th District. Crystal? Yes, ma'am. Okay, we will wait till our folks leave, as we are going to have opening comments from our school board candidates. They will each have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, possibly talk about their platforms, and then each candidate will have 3 questions and then 2 minutes to answer those questions, and then we'll wrap up with the 2-minute closing comment session on the very end. Sherman, are you leaving too? I got him. Thanks for coming out. Sherman was here. He was at Jacksboro last week. As we still have a few folks left here. We're in the cafeteria at Jellicoe High School. Are we ready now? We believe so. Okay, Crystal Creekmore, we will let you take it away this evening.
My name is Crystal Creekmore. I'm a parent, not a politician, and that just means I've got 3 kids in our schools. I see things that need to be changed. I currently work at Jellicoe Housing Authority, been there over 20 years.
Check. Okay. Maybe just
okay.
You're soft-spoken.
Okay. I work at Jellicoe Housing Authority. I've been there over 20 years. Been the director for about 8 years. Proven leader. And I guess that's it.
Crystal, thank you. Crystal Creekmore, candidate for school board 5th District. Shall we go left or right? That means Johnny Creekmore. This left, the other left, right? Johnny Creekmore is the incumbent in the 5th District for school board. Johnny, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. My name is Johnny Creekmore. I'm currently on the school board. A lifelong resident of Jellicoe. I'm married to Laura Douglas Creekmore. We have a son, John, who'll be 2 in September, and I'm happy to say we're going to have a little girl in the morning, so we're adding to our family. I care about this community. I sought this office 4 years ago to, help things out. We've done a lot of good in the last 4 years. I'd like to ask everyone to continue their support and moving the county forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny Creekmore. We now go to Elsie Bates Crawford. Elsie?
I'm Elsie Bates Crawford. I've lived in Campbell County my entire life. I've never been beyond 15 minutes from Jellicoe. Graduated from Jellicoe High School back in 1966. I have 2 children who both graduated from Jellicoe High School. My son graduated in 1980. My daughter graduated in 1981. I left Jellicoe High School. I had 2 children when I did that, and I went to college. I have a degree in business, and also I'm a registered nurse. I have spent most of my professional life in medicine. I have worked as a registered nurse. Most of the time it's been in medical administration. I've been with Wilkins Medical Group as the Vice President of Operations for, it'll be 40 years next month. I am serving on the Board of Directors with the National Association of Rural Health Clinic. I'm on the Board of Directors with the Tennessee Technology School. In Jacksboro, the nursing division, I have been a Girl Scout leader for 17 years. I also coached basketball, baseball. I never coached football. I have, as two of the other gentlemen said, you know, they love Campbell County. Well, I love the children of Campbell County, all of them. I have a great interest in education because I feel that I received a good education from Jellicoe. When I left Jellicoe High School, I graduated number 2 in my college class. I graduated number 1 in my nursing class. That came from Jellicoe and the teachers that were here. These kids on this side of the mountain, and there is definitely a this side of the mountain, deserve much more than they receive. We are the advocate for the future, and the future is the children. We do not give them what we need to be given them. This system, our ROTC program was removed from Jellicoe in 2009. They still have it across the mountain. We have no vocational, we have some, well, I think we have a cosmetology program now, but we need so much in this school that these children don't have. And I think that as my education and my background in business gives me the knowledge to look at a budget and to be able to give to these children, help them, because I don't want to run a school, I just want to see a school well run.
Thank you. Elsie Bates Crawford, candidate for School Board 5th District. Who has our first question? It's Kennedy Walden. Kennedy, if you've just come in, Kennedy is a junior to be at Jellicoe High School. And Kennedy, what is your question?
In your opinion, what are the biggest problems facing the schools in your district?
Okay, in your opinion, what are the biggest problems facing the schools in this district? And Karen, where shall we go for this first question? We'll go to Mr. Creekmore, Johnny Creekmore, the incumbent in the 5th District. And we remind you, you have 2 minutes. We'll give you a 1-minute cue somewhere along the way. Well, the 1-minute mark, I guess, is where that'll be. Johnny?
I guess one of the problems we have is maybe a lack of funding. Here we're okay in Jellicoe, but like in White Oak and Elk Valley, they kind of, I won't say get the shaft, but where there's not as many kids, it's kind of hard to place so many teachers in one spot in those schools. So I would say we just have to look to get more funding for that, to fund for the teachers to get the help that the kids need in those schools.
Thank you. Johnny Creekmore. Do we go to Crystal? Okay. Crystal Creekmore. Crystal, in your opinion, what are the biggest problems facing the schools in your district?
We don't communicate. Our leaders don't know what our children need, be it at high school, like Ms. Bates Crawford pointed out, the ROTC. In order to bring that back, we need to see if there's an interest there. If there's enough students that want to enroll in the ROTC, then we need to see what we can do to get it back. If we just need to find out what our kids need, especially in high school, because that's their platform for the future. In the smaller schools, we had, by understanding, we had some students sitting on milk crates, but I don't know. But you know, we as whoever is a board member needs to talk to the schools and see what they need, and try to do whatever it takes to get those.
Thank you. Crystal Creekmore. We now go to Elsie Bates Crawford. Elsie, in your opinion, what are the biggest problems facing the schools in your district?
The biggest problem we have in our district is our representatives on the school board. Micromanagement for the school system, the principals are supposed to run the school. The superintendent is the person who hires that principal. The school board is supposed to set policy and help with the budget and make sure that what money we do have is allocated properly to the schools. They are not meant to hire teachers, to hire janitors, or to hire other people. We need, as a school board, we need to spend our time and our energy doing the things that a school board is supposed to do. We should be there to make sure that what money we do have is put in the proper places. Look for grants to get more money. There's money out there, people, if we just look for it. But we spend so much time trying, we move our teachers around like they're chess pieces on a board. We do all of these things, and we concentrate on so many things in this district other than the thing that we're supposed to be looking after, and that's the children. These kids don't get a fair shake at anything, and that includes the management that takes. We got some good teachers, but these teachers are scared to do things because they know they're going to be punished or they feel they will be. So we need to change the structure at the top, have the board do what they're supposed to do, and leave the principals to run the school and the teachers to teach the children. And then I think we'll see that we have kids here who someday may discover the cure for cancer.
Thank you, Elsie Bates Crawford. We're visiting with the candidates from District 5 for a school board. We've already talked with county commission candidates, the sheriff's candidates. Who has our next question? It's Charlotte Underwood from WLAF. All right. Looks like that's a long question. Here you go.
Do you feel that Campbell County's alternative school is successful at providing problem students with an adequate education? And let me just say that problem students is not my words. That's what's on here. If not, how would you improve or change the alternative program? So do you feel the alternative school is successful? You know.
Okay, Karen, where do we go first? Okay, we'll go back to Elsie Bates Crawford. Elsie, this long question here. Do you feel the Campbell County Alternative School is being successful at providing problem students with an adequate education? And if not, how would you improve or change the alternative program?
I don't feel that it's successful. I think we need it, definitely. I think we've seen that. I think that probably what we need is to see if there is money that can be allocated to get proper treatment for these children. Mental health issues, people, I could talk to you for hours on that. This is something we don't have for our children. And a lot of times these kids that are in the alternative programs have issues we don't even know they have. We have no concept what they're going through. We don't have any concept what they need. When they're placed into this school, I'm not sure, I don't know what, as far as the educational issues and whether they're getting, the good education or not, but I do know they're not getting the things that they need, and I don't think it's a success. I think we need to step back, reevaluate, look at it closely, and make some decisions. And the board does not need to make those decisions. The board needs to get the experts in there that know what they're doing, because the board doesn't know.
Thank you, Elsie Bates Crawford. Who's next? Or do we have another question? Same question? Okay, this will go to what? Change the question, maybe? Okay, Boomer's going to change it up for us. Charles Boomer Winfrey, digging deep into the fishbowl here, or whatever kind of bowl that is. Okay.
Do you think there's too much emphasis on competitive sports at elementary and middle school levels, too little emphasis, or currently a good balance?
Okay, and we're going to go to Crystal with this question, is that right? Okay, Crystal, here we go. Do you think there's too much emphasis on competitive sports at elementary and middle school levels, or too little emphasis, or currently a good balance? And let's see if we can get this mic cable to work. Here we go. Crystal?
Middle school or?
It's middle school and elementary.
I think we've got a pretty good balance on that. I think sports are important. It keeps a lot of kids out of trouble. It should not be, let me rephrase that, it should be, if the funding is there, it should be offered to all schools should be the same. But if you have to cut at the expense of educating the children for sports, I don't agree with that. But sports are an important, that keeps kids out of trouble, gives them hard work, dedication. So yeah, I think sports are important, but not at the expense of education.
Okay, thank you, Crystal Creekmore. Are we going to go with another question? Okay. Maybe, maybe not. Joe is going to earn his keep here. Joe King, what do you have for us?
How do you feel about online learning opportunities for students in your district?
Okay. This is going to go to Mr. Creekmore, Johnny Creekmore, candidate for 5th District School Board. He is our incumbent. I guess I should have moved this chair a minute ago. So our cable's getting a little bit tangled up. Okay. Johnny, how do you feel about online learning opportunities?
Well, I think it's a good thing, but especially for maybe some of the children that have difficulty learning or having, fitting in or something like that. But I don't think that it should take the place as the actual classroom, because that's the teachers, one-on-one or however we do it, they need to be in the classroom with the kids, and I think that's the best way they can learn is in the classroom with the teacher.
Thank you, Johnny Creekmore. Who has our next question? Or was that 3? No? Okay. Okay, all right. Crystal or Elsie, where do we go? Okay, Crystal. We'll continue with Johnny's question here, or the one that we posed to Johnny. Say again. Okay, right. How do you feel about online learning opportunities for students in Campbell County?
I don't think it should replace public education. I think it should be available for medical reasons. But other than that, I'm all for public education.
Okay, thank you, Crystal Creekmore. Now, Elsie Bates Crawford. Elsie, how do you feel about online learning opportunities?
It takes an extremely motivated child to do online. Doing a course online is about at least 5 times more difficult for a child because they're just not structured, depending on the age, to be motivated to actually do it. I'm not in favor of online classes at all, other than for the very gifted children. Sometimes these things are great for them because it gives them a bit more complexity in what they're doing. But if you're talking about the average child, particularly under the age of 16 or so, I don't like it at all. It takes away much of the education, the fun of education, and the learning that you do get, as Johnny said, within the classroom, having an instructor. Online is good to a degree, only if the child is capable of being motivated to do it or has someone who can sit there to make sure they're motivated. As far, if I had to vote, I would vote against online learning. I don't like those classes that much. But again, there's always an exception, but it should not ever be the rule, in my opinion.
In her opinion. Thank you, Elsie. Elsie Bates Crawford. What do we have next? We've gone quickly, haven't we? Okay. Time for one more? Okay. I don't think our candidates are going anywhere anytime soon, right? All right. Kennedy Walden has this question. Kennedy.
What would be your solution to school bullying?
Okay. What would be your solution to school bullying? Who gets to tackle this first? Or are we going to ask everybody this question? Everybody? Is that what we're going to do? Okay. Where do we go first? Mr. Creekmore, Johnny Creekmore, the incumbent. Johnny, what about school bullying?
In my opinion, you'd have to get with your teacher, and the principal would get with the teachers, and then they would get with the central office staff and work out a plan to help eliminate. You're always going to have it, but if they can get together and work out some issues or make a solution to the problem. There is a policy in place. We passed it maybe a year ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago. I'm not exactly sure. But you just have to let the principals and the teachers work with the central office staff and work with the director of schools, and because that's their full-time job, and let them work out that.
Thank you. Johnny Creekmore. We go to Crystal next. Okay, Crystal, the issue is school bullying.
School bullying, I actually, I remember when the current policy was put in place, and I'm not sure, some kinks were in there. Bullying has always happened. Educating your staff and talking to the children and make sure that they come to you and all that, but the current system you've got, if a child is being bullied and they hit back and the fight results, they both get the same punishment. So there's some issues that need to be worked out with that, but educating your teachers and principals and letting them handle it is the best way to do, but we need to look at the policy because you've got too many kids that are getting bullied and they won't report it, and then the same punishment for the same crime but without investigating why it happened. That's kind of what you need to do, but leave that up to your principal and your teachers to decide.
Thank you, Crystal Creekmore. We now go to Elsie Bates Crawford. Elsie, bullying.
How I wish I could look at you and give you the answer that would solve this problem, because it has been in existence for all times. It's worse now than we've seen it, perhaps because we see the children die every day because of bullying. I think that this is an issue that needs to be addressed by the principal and the teachers. I think they need to look at the child that's doing the bullying. That kid's probably going to need some help themselves. I don't honestly know what the answer is. It's been there since the beginning. It's going to be here for always, but we've got to deal with it and we've got to work with it continuously. I'm not particularly fond of the policy that Crystal spoke about where if the kid protects themselves, they get expelled, just like the kid that came over with a baseball bat. I don't agree. I don't like that. I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that at a local level from the school board, if that's a state or a federal mandated policy, but it should be changed. A child has to protect themselves when they are assaulted by another child, and I don't think they should be, as she said, receive the same punishment. It just should not be. I don't agree with that. But I do believe we need to look at those children that are doing the bullying a little bit closer, because you might be able to do something about decreasing at least the Columbines if you look and see that there is a real problem there that needs to be addressed. And again, like I say, I wish I had the answer. I pray that somebody comes up with the answer, because it is an issue that is a real important thing, and it's critical.
Thank you, Elsie Bates Crawford. Our candidates for school board this evening, are we ready for final comments? Is that a yes? Okay. And where shall we go for our first closing comments? Mr. Creekmore. Okay, Johnny Creekmore, the incumbent in the 5th District. Johnny, you have 2 minutes for closing comments, sir.
First, I'd like to thank Mr. Freeman and the panel for coming over here and giving us this opportunity to speak. When I was elected 4 years ago, touching back on the alternative learning, our kids were housed in the field house down here. So we worked hard to, even though it's not finished yet, but we've got the funding and we've built a building out here for the alternative learning, and we've been housing them over here in the library until this building is complete. And I hear other side of the mountain, but in the last 4 years, we have allocated $1.7 million for this side of the mountain, as people like to call it. I just like to call it the 5th District. We've given money to Jellicoe Elementary softball, Jellicoe Elementary football, Jellicoe Elementary baseball team. We started those two teams. Anytime we've needed money, we've tried our best to allocate money for these schools. And as far as myself personally, I have never tried to micromanage a school. I have Dr. Singley, I'm not putting her on the spot, but she's been a principal ever since I've been a board member. if she has an issue, she comes to me for help. I don't get in her business. And I'm not sure if Ms. Crawford was referring that to me or Mr. Collins, but I really want to appreciate that. Only thing I've done is try to do the right thing for the kids. I ask for your vote and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny Creekmore. Early voting begins tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Karen, do we go to Crystal Creekmore next? Crystal, your closing comments, please.
I am, like I said, I've got 3 kids. I've got, my oldest is a sophomore in high school, or will be this coming year. My daughter is 6th grader at Jellicoe Elementary. My 4-year-old will start preschool in the fall. I feel I know the kids. There is some things that can be improved. I feel I'm with parents every day, with kids every day. I have a little better hands-on on what is going on, and can express those needs to the proper channel. And I guess that's it.
Thank you. Crystal Creekmore, candidate for school board in the 5th District. And now closing comments from Elsie Bates Crawford. Elsie?
About 35 years ago, as a working mother with 2 children, I made the decision that someday I wanted to be on the school board because I believed in education. At that time, I worked, I went to school, and I had 2 kids, and I did not feel that I needed to leave them for another position. So I have waited until my kids are grown and even my grandchildren are older. But I feel like that I have the care and the love for these children in this particular district, and with the experience that I have had in business and also working with kids and on the other responsibilities that I've had over the years, that I would be able to add something to the school board, I would hope. I would at least like to try to be able to do something. If I felt like there was nothing that I was adding to the board, that I was doing nothing to help these children, then I would never run for the 2nd term. If I am elected and I am able to see very clearly that there is something done that I am doing that might be able to swing the pendulum around in this education for this side of the mountain, then I would run for a 2nd term. I still believe firmly that the parents in this community love their children and will back up anybody that tries to help them. I think that I know a lot of people don't feel that the parents will do that. I do. And I think with help and support that we may be able to do more for our kids. I don't in the least bit think that as one individual person I can do a single thing. I realize I cannot, because a school board member should not have any power other than to be able to form policy and to try to help the kids. That's what I would like to do. So I ask for your support. I ask for your vote. You can always call me if you see I'm doing something that is not for the children. My number is not unlisted and never will be, and I do not think you will ever make that call.
Thank you. Our candidates for 5th District School Board, Elsie Bates Crawford, Crystal Creekmore, and Johnny Creekmore. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please. Elsie, Crystal, Johnny, thank you for coming out this evening. Thank you. And that is going to wrap it up. And thank all those of you who stayed around or came in this evening for this 3rd of 3 candidate forums presented by WLAF and the La Follette Press. We bid you a good night. Remember, early voting begins tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Election day is 3 weeks from today on August the 7th. Good night from WLAF.